Hello, everybody, and welcome to our spectacular Halloween episode of Bill Has Opinions. We are the Halloween show. No, we are the Halloween problem with the drinking show. We're also funnier the more you've been drinking, so we recommend you get a beer and join us. I am, of course, Laura Lavoie. I am joined by Beelzebub, who has opinions. How are you, Bill?
Ladies and gentlemen. Hi, yeah. I've been ready for this spectacular all week.
I caught you off guard there. Also, I totally just inhaled my beer.
Yeah.
So how are you? How's your week been for a Tuesday?
How I was. I got a speaking story for everybody this week. After last week's show, I dropped my car, a 2008 Mini Cooper convertible. I dropped it off at the mechanic because I was having some shifting problems. And here's the spooky part. They sent me a quote the next day, and it was $3,400 to fix the clutch.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that was spooky. And so I went and got rid of the damn car because that car's not worth that much.
Yeah, no kidding.
So if you're thinking about buying a Mini Cooper, don't. Or if you do buy a Mini Cooper, get rid of it around 70,000 miles. Do not keep it until the clutch wears out because that's a big pain in the butt, and you don't want that grief.
No, that sounds very scary.
If you get rid of it around 70,000, you'll probably actually avoid a lot of the pitfalls that you have with that particular car. So that's maybe any German car in general. I would advise that maybe get rid of it early. If you're the kind of person who can afford German cars, you can afford to trade them early. So there you go. That's some advice from me. That's my spooky story for the week.
That is pretty spooky. All right. Well, alcohol numbs pain and sadness. So what are you drinking?
I'm, going off base a little bit this week, and I'm drinking a bunch of New Belgium Voodoo Ranger because it was the creepiest sounding thing we had here at the Purple Onion. I was telling Laura before the show, actually, I went down to the bottle shop over the weekend and I bought myself a couple of spooky themed beers specifically for this show. And then when you know it, life happens and, you forget to do things, and I did not bring those beers with. So I'll try and do something with them later in the week, maybe something on the speakeasy or something, maybe some little shorts or something with those spooktacular beers.
And so by the way, for anyone wondering, what is the speakeasy? It is our private club where if you join our membership on Patreon, you get access to our private club where you can see fun and exciting things that we do sometimes, I guess. So do that. We would like it. It would be good.
We don't do a lot. We don't have any subscribers either. Once I get people paying, I'll provide content.
Exactly. So I have in my little cooler here, I've got a series of oatmeal porters. Well, two, if that's a series. I have local. Is two a series? A couple, I guess. Sticky Stout from Red Hare Brewing. They technically classify this as their winter seasonal, but not because it's a winter warmer, but just because they only brew it this time of the year. And then from Asheville, the oatmeal porter. Just the regular oatmeal porter. So I'm going to bust open one of these. Which one should I start with? Asheville or Atlanta?
The Red Hare.
Oh, the Red Hare. All right.
Yeah, I remember Red Hare was a brewery that I gave the highest mark of income to, I believe, in my one tap. And that was for their Oktoberfest, I want to say.
Yes, their Hassenpfeffer.
Oh, man, I liked that thing. I don't know what. I got to get my hands on some of that sometime, maybe.
You should.
I should have done it 2 weeks ago when I was over there, but I did not, alas.
Maybe before we move back, we'll get you a whole. Well, we can't get the Oktoberfest, I suppose.
Yeah.
Before we move back. But, well, maybe I can in the next month. I don't know. This is very tasty.
If you see it, grab it for me.
I will do that. So I was starting out with this one, a nice dark beer for Halloween, and it's quite enjoyable. It's not too sweet, has a hefty mouthfeel because of the oatmeal situation.
There's an oat situation.
There's definitely an oat situation. Oh, before the show, I did drink our very last pumpkin ale, which is the Dunkin' Pumpkin Latte Ale, which is good. It wasn't amazing, but it was okay.
It was all right.
It was all right. Before we get into our episode monologue, viewer at home, we have an intro song for you. We almost never have an intro song. And anyone who knows us will know what this is, and some of them will hate it, depending on who's watching. So, enjoy. That is true. One of our viewers dropped off, and I don't know if it was because of that.
Was Jill on and after like I'm done, I'm out.
That was my thought. I do not know. And viewers at home, please participate in the chat. We want to hear from you. But that song is a group inside joke, and it's hilarious, and we love it.
Yeah, we brought that card to Dragon Con. When was that? It was like several years ago you bought it, right?
It was a very long time ago. We were at Dragon Con and we were walking through the CVS that's on site, where the convention is. And we just happened to Peachtree Station in Atlanta, and it was Peachtree Center. And we just bought it on a whim because who doesn't need a fuzzy, googly eye Halloween music card? And we annoyed our roommates all weekend long with it. And it has since spawned. We now have a collection of 4 of those specific Scary Monster cards, different seasons, 2 birthdays, Valentine's Day, and Halloween. But we also have several other singing cards that we've bought over the years in a similar vein.
Right. The year after that, we bought one that sang the Monster Mash, and we actually stowed it away in Jill's suitcase.
And we did indeed, because she hates them. She hates them with an absolute passion, and we find it so funny that that's the case. So sorry, Jill, we love you, and we love you because we put singing cards in your.
It's the reason people pick people is because they love them,
Exactly. Unless it becomes non-consensual bullying, and then that's different. But so
this is like sibling bullying, though, which is a type of love.
Yes, precisely. So Bill, give us your lowdown. We're talking about Halloween today. Love it or hate it. What's your general overview?
I've always loved Halloween, probably because, as we've explained many times in the past, I'm very fond of costumes and getting dressed up. And, growing up in the South, unless you were in theater, Halloween was your only real opportunity. The only time it was acceptable. So that was the thing I really enjoyed was dressing up for Halloween. I enjoyed everything around Halloween. I like the candy. I like the whole trick-or-treating. I don't know, man. It's a cool holiday, and it's a good time. It's my favorite time of year, first off, and then there's a great holiday in the middle of it, right? So it's just all around good times, and I just like the vibe. It puts off a cool vibe. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. Halloween has always been my very, very favorite, even when I was a little kid. And I'll tell you when I realized, because I randomly had dress up parties for my birthdays and stuff, which is in the spring, just because I enjoyed costuming. But the day as an adult, when I realized that costuming and cosplay was a thing and that you could do it whenever you wanted, I was like, holy crap, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But I would have trick-or-treated. I would still be trick-or-treating if it were socially acceptable. Like, I trick-or-treated until I was a senior. I would still do it. But obviously people would be like, what? Why are you doing that?
I did discover this. Me and my friend Doug in high school, we used to go trick-or-treating, but we would wait until about 7:30 or 8 to leave. And then instead of being met with derision, you were met with thanks, because they thought they were done with trick-or-treaters and they were going to have to eat that entire bowl of Kit Kats by themselves. And so you're saving them from themselves if you come around late. There's not so much hate for teenagers if you go out after dark, is what I'm saying, right? Like, if you let the little kids go do their wave, and then when the little kids are kind of like filtering out, that's when it's time to roll. And then me and my friends would go out then trick or treat, and they'd kind of be like, "Oh, thank God, someone's still trick or treating. Here, have all of it."
Nice. See, there's a Halloween hack for the teenagers that are watching our show who shouldn't be watching our show because it's entirely inappropriate for children.
Well, I don't know about teenagers, though. I mean, what are we going to say they don't know about? Like, they probably know shit we don't know about.
Oh, I'm sure they do, because we're quintessential Gen X old people, so we don't know a lot. We're very confused. But we are just old people. But no, well, so I channeled that lack of ability to trick or treat into giving out candy for trick or treating. Yeah. So, as you know, because you've been at my house when I've given out candy,
right?
I go all in. Like, I dress up, I decorate, I give out candy, I call children around me, which is not okay most of the time. Not just for me, but in general.
It's when you outgrow the trick or treating, you have to switch and you become the host. But you don't just want to be a host. You want to be the house they want to hit, right? Like, you become that person who either buys the full-size candy bars, or you become the person who puts up the haunted house in their yard.
Yeah.
You know?
That's something I actually want to do in the future. I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And I've never gotten around to it, but I would totally do that, where, like, kids have to go through our backyard, like a little maze situation to get the candy at the end. I've always thought that would be so much fun.
Well, when it comes time, holler at me, because I live out in the boonies. I'm not going to get any trick-or-treaters, so I'll be happy to assist. I mean, like, you know, although we are thinking about maybe having a Halloween party at whatever point in time that parties become a thing again, you know.
Right.
It's a thing we'd like to do at some point, but it might not necessarily be on actual Halloween. It might be just the Saturday before. Since this Halloween is Saturday, it'd probably be a good 10 years before Halloween's on Saturday again, right?
Oh, yeah, it'll be a while. So, yeah, if Halloween is on a random Monday, you could totally do the weekend before and you'd be fine. Yeah. So, that's my advice.
I gotta say something about that. I don't believe in, like, every so often when Halloween falls on a Friday or a Monday or some shit like that, people make this like, hey, we should just observe Halloween on Saturday. And I'm like, no, that's not how Halloween freaking works. It's on the day it's on. Just like Christmas and the 4th of July. You don't move that shit around. It is when it is. It's October 31st, and you're going to go trick-or-treating on October 31st. If somebody shows up at my house on October 28th expecting candy, they can get the fuck off my yard. It's not going to happen. You know?
I agree. I completely agree. I think it's ridiculous that some places, and you know what though, I always wonder if that's one of those like hollow threats, kind of like, are there razor blades in your Snickers, or did somebody give you edibles? Like, those things almost never happen, like so minuscule. Like, I know that there were stories of razor blades and stuff and apples, whatever.
I want to touch on that about the scary candy thing, because I've been doing some reading about it, because we were talking about it the other night. And so the history of the spooky things in your candy, turns out the only time there was ever poison in anyone's candy, the kid's dad was trying to poison him.
Oh, good. Well, all right then.
It turns out, like all murders, it's somebody you know. You know? Right. So that's the thing. It wasn't any rando being like, hey, I think I'll poison half a dozen kids tonight. That doesn't happen. People aren't doing that. And also, the fucking edibles, man. Come on. Nobody's giving out ecstasy or edibles for free. Like,
right, those cost a lot of money. You're not giving that away.
Nobody's giving drugs for free. I'm telling you what, man. Like this is something that old ass squares come up with. It, like people give you the first one's on me. No dealer says that. The first one, you might get one free from like a friend who's like doing it. He's like, hey man, you should do this too. Okay, that might happen. That's the only way you're ever going to do drugs for free. That's it. Or if you find mushrooms out in the cow pasture, I guess that's free.
Also, don't do that because unless you are like a trained mushroom scavenger, don't ever just eat random mushrooms. That's not a good idea. That's my advice for today.
I suspect the people who like that particular kind of mushroom know what the hell they're getting into.
Hopefully, but I guess most of the time when you see it, it's dried. So how do you really know what it is?
I don't know. There's always one guy who knows, man. I'm telling you, like a guy. It's the white guy with dreadlocks.
That's true. I will say we have been somewhere where we thought we saw a mushroom that was psilocybin, but I did not want to find that out the hard way. Like,
fair enough. Even if you're right, those things will still make you puke.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's
so PSA kids don't.
That they puke anyway, even if they're picking the right mushroom, because that particular mushroom actually is poisonous. That's how it works. It's kind of like
exactly
like this. My favorite poison. It's actually a mild poison, and it does a thing to your brain.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and we poison ourselves on purpose, and it's delicious. In the right hands, it's very tasty. All right, let's take a quick break for our station break. We want to remind all of our viewers to go out and vote. Honestly, the election day is a week from now. We're actually going to have a special election day returns episode. I don't know what you call it, but we'll be here next week because we don't want to sit around and watch the returns because then we'll just be sad and depressed. So we're going to come here and entertain you with our random musings on elections. So do that. Vote as soon as you can. Make a plan. Do early voting if you can do that. Make a plan for voting day. Drop off your vote. Whatever.
I went voting, and there was actually a surprisingly high number of people doing it. Because I early vote all the time. I've always early voted because I don't like my regular precinct, and when I early vote, I can go to the better precinct.
Right.
So I've always done this, and I just like getting it out of the way. Also, but in this particular case, I thought, well, if there's going to be shenanigans on election day, if I get it done early, then I don't have to fool with it.
Exactly.
So I did. And there were a surprisingly high turnout for early voting. I did it on a weekday. Yeah, it wasn't even like a Saturday or anything. I went down there. Was that Monday or Tuesday? I can't remember last week.
Yeah, I texted you when you were there, and you're like, "Can't talk now, voting."
Yeah.
so reminder, everybody, get out and vote. But we have a bonus station break for you because I couldn't not share this.
A bonus more commercial.
A bonus commercial. Well, we're not good. This is not a paid advertisement in any way, shape, or form. I just really want to share this because I'm so excited about it. So our good friends at Geek Orthodox, we didn't know this was coming, but we got this in the mail last week. It is a custom stained glass piece of our little Dum Dum toast. You can see there with the blue eyes.
Put your phone on behind it.
Okay, let me do that. Wait, where's my phone? Hold on, I'll do that. Yeah, it's not the best lighting, but it is our late Sphinx Cat Piglet and our. See their little dumb little faces?
You gotta scoot the other direction. There you go.
There it is. Look at her dumb little face.
All right.
It was better before. But anyway, these are awesome. I love it. Oh, there's a good angle right there. Check that out.
Yeah.
And they're in a pumpkin and it's spooky and I love it. And I just wanted to show people. And the reason I wanted to show you is because it's Geek Orthodox, which is custom stained glass. Well, they do pieces that you can just buy. But they also do custom stained glass, and you could order your own custom stained glass of your pets. or your favorite fandom or random people from history. Like if you just want some stained glass, order it from Geek Orthodox because it's beautiful.
Yeah, they'll be happy to do it. I mean, do understand that this is craft work and it's going to cost and it's going to take time. That's how art works.
It is.
They
But
won't.
it's
They
so
won't
worth
get exposure.
No, they will not. No, it's stained glass. Like I won't even work for exposure, and it takes me like an hour or two to bang out something for a client. But there's no way I'm working for exposure. So
Yeah.
artists should never work for exposure. So pay them for what they're doing. So that's just a PSA for you. All right, but let's get back to the heart of the show. And what I have next on our list is Halloween memories. Phil, what have been your favorite Halloween memories?
Okay, this is a crazy one I'm going to tell you about. So my aunt gave me this dumb idea one time. She told me about, like, I guess when she was younger, she participated in one of those, she said a haunted house, but you know what, it was probably more realistically, because my aunt's very religious, it was probably one of those hell houses, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Religious, like evangelical haunted house. Anyway, she told me this idea about to make yourself look like a cadaver. You spread peanut butter all over your face, and then you stuck your face in a bowl of Rice Krispies, and then the Rice Krispies stick to your face, and then you powder it afterwards, so it gives your skin a weird texture, right? So,
all right, I'm here for that.
Okay, so that's the backstory. So for several years, I bought this like monk's robe when I was a child. I was probably about it fit for several years, and so I was some version of death for probably 3 years. You know, at first I actually had a skull face, but then like one year I did this thing that she told me about, right? Which was this whatever the fuck food all over my face.
Right, yeah, like don't go near any dogs or any like, because that could end very poorly.
So anyway, here's the thing: we went trick or treating, and that's what I was. And I was wearing this hood, and I had my face covered in whatever the fuck I had, And I'm sure over the course of the evening, like the peanut butter probably was melting off of me. I was just dripping, and because I'm a sweaty person, I get hot easily. At some point, I remember my mom took us to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Me and a friend of mine who was trick or treating with us, and it was like send us in there to buy some chicken. And I think the girl who was running the counter, she was so freaked out by my costume.
Oh my God!
She forgot to charge me. We actually walked out of there with $20 worth of chicken for free.
Oh my God!
And my mom asked me later, she's like, "Hey, did you have any change?" And I was like, "Oh," and I handed her all the money back, and she's like, "Well, this is all the money." And I was like, "Oh yeah." She didn't ask me for money ever.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So we went down there the next day and paid them, but it was that's one of the things I remember from my childhood that was pretty crazy. A Halloween memory.
Nice. And I want to remind viewers, join in the chat. You can tell us about your Halloween memories, and we would love to hear from you. But no, it's funny you mentioned that you had a monk's robe that was like a go-to costume, because we had this, and I wish I had taken it when I had the chance, but we had this cape that apparently my aunt was like into dance when she was a kid, so she did all the ballet and all the fancy dancing and stuff. And my grandmother would make her costumes. And one of the costumes, I guess it was for a flamenco situation, but she had, so it was like red and black, but she had a cape that went with it. And it was black satin on the outside and red satin on the inside. And somehow my mom ended up with it. So it was our go-to Halloween costume. Like you could be a witch, you could be a vampire, you could be anything you wanted. Right. One year I was literally Alice Cooper because the makeup's easy, and I wore that cape, and that was it.
And you're like,
with the smears and everything. Yeah, I did the whole thing.
Alice Cooper.
I was. I was Alice Cooper with dark blonde hair because I didn't want to wear a wig, but I didn't care. So I didn't care at that point. But so it was the go-to costume that we wore for years. And my mom was getting rid of it when they moved out of their house a few years ago. And I don't know what possessed me, but when she asked me if I wanted it, I said no. And that's like one of my few regrets in life. Like why
You're like,
white.
Stupid cape. That's been in the family for 3 generations.
No kidding. I don't know. But the other childhood memory I have, and this fits in with the next category, is the Gen X Halloween experience, because it's a very specific Halloween experience when you grew up in like the late 80s, is the plastic costume.
Oh, God, yeah.
So you have this plastic smock that isn't really a costume. It like has the logo of the thing that you are on it.
Yes.
And then the plastic mask that with just like the elastic strap that goes over your face and tiny little eye holes and a tiny little mouth hole, and you could barely see out of it.
Right.
And I remember one year, and this actually, the topic after the Gen X Halloween is the next one. I grew up in Detroit, or outside of Detroit. It was Halloween. It blizzarded on Halloween, like straight up blizzard. You could not see in front of your face. But of course, I was 7, 8 years old, and I'm like, I'm going trick-or-treating, motherfuckers. And my poor father had to take me out, and I was in a legit snowsuit, like the whole thing with the moon boots, the whole snowsuit, the hood over my head tied real tight, and I had that fucking plastic smock and that mask, and I made it like 4 houses before we had to go home.
So did you put the plastic thing over the snowsuit?
Over the snowsuit.
Okay.
And that particular costume was Smurfette.
Okay.
And the best part is it had the Smurfette mask. And then the smock was sort of like a dress, but in the middle it said the Smurfs.
Yes. I want to say something about those costumes because I don't think she's, in case you're not a Gen Xer, she's not painting the picture well enough. So it's basically a trash bag that's been printed. I mean, it's like the thinnest of vinyl tarp or something like that that's been printed and heat welded together, two layers so that you can slip in between them. It's a plastic sheet you're wearing, like it's like a poncho essentially. You're wearing a poncho and it has the logo, and then you've got this stupid polystyrene thin plastic mask. The last one I remember owning of that particular ilk, and I had a few of them, but I've seen pictures of myself. I guess one child I had a Casper the Friendly Ghost one. But I don't remember
that one.
I don't remember it. I've just seen pictures. That was probably when I was like 2 or something. But the last one I recall, I remember I had the Disney movie Fox and the Hound.
Oh yeah.
And I had the fox mask, and then it said the Fox and the Hound.
Exactly. The best part. I think that's the best part of those costumes, and something no one would understand is that it wasn't a costume. It was an advertisement. It was like you were wearing a sandwich board that said it was just the name of the thing that you were.
You get Joe's, and you have a mask and a roast beef sandwich.
Yes, exactly. And Matt and he's right. The masks had really sharp edges.
They were made of the thinnest of polystyrene plastic that had been heat into a mold to make the shape of whatever the fuck it was.
Exactly.
And then the elastic was stapled to them.
Yes.
And sometimes that would they would tear it where the elastic was, or the staples would scratch you or whatever. It was nuts. Like it's crazy. And I know there are people now that are like certain crafters now making like retro like reprints of those kinds of things. Because I think they were eventually like outlawed or something, weren't they?
They were, because the visibility was bad and little kids were getting injured and stuff. So getting hit by cars.
They would cut eye holes. They were like hole punches, little pinholes.
That's probably why the Smurfette was the last one I remember, because I was probably about 7. Because I've worn glasses since I was 8, and you can't physically fit those things over a pair of glasses. Like, it's impossible.
Right. So what a godsend it was to you when you realized costumes didn't have to have a polystyrene mask.
Yeah.
Like once you learn to like face paint, this is the whole reason that the aforementioned monk robe became such a huge staple in my Halloween costuming, was because I realized with this I didn't have to rely on stupid polystyrene masks.
Yes. Yeah, and that was what this red and black cape eventually signified, because I would often plan a costume around that cape. Often it was a witch, and I'd just paint my face green and be like, I'm a witch. But, it's okay. Like, it's okay that that's what it was. It was
right.
But, so do you have a favorite, other than the monk robe and the peanut butter face, do you have a favorite childhood costume?
I was Luke Skywalker when I was 5, and I think I had one of my mother's blouses, like just like a wraparound. I don't remember what the costume was made of. I think I had on a pair of brown pants and chukka boots or something. Whatever it was we wore in the late 70s, and I had like I said, it was like that one episode of Luke Cage where for a moment he puts on the old Luke Cage outfit. It was like something like that.
Yes.
It was like silky white blouse tied over me. And I mean, I think I probably had the shaggy blonde hair because we all did at the time. And I was strawberry blonde until I was 5 years old. And I had this sword. It was a glow in the dark plastic sword I had.
Oh yeah.
That I carried around, so that was. That's what I remember. I was Luke Skywalker that one year. That was probably my favorite, absolute favorite costume I ever did. Was probably that. I don't know. Like until I was an adult. Like when I was a teenager, it was always some thrown together shit. It was just like, I'd put on I wouldn't even have a real cape. I would just like tie a sheet around my neck and I'd put on like eyeliner and lipstick or some shit and be like, "Ooh, I'm a vampire" or something.
I'm Alice Cooper.
Whatever.
No, but sometimes those found costumes are great, and that's why I learned my resourcefulness in cosplay and why I like assembled costume versus making my own.
Right.
Because my single favorite costume to this day, actually, the other day I was trying to figure out how to work this into Dragon Con next year. Was the year that I was Danger Mouse. It was 11th grade, and it was literally a white, gym suit, like white sweatpants and a white sweatshirt hoodie. And I had the button that said DM, and I had the red belt. And I made mouse ears because I just used cardboard and like a pink paper. I don't know what I did. But I attached it to a headband like this, made my own mouse ears, painted my face white. I actually pulled the hoodie over my head and tied it, so it was like a round little. I was channeling a mouse, and to this day, that is one of my all-time favorite costumes, and I think it's one of the things that spurred me on to actual cosplay and to cosplay assembly. Because I love the art of the hunt, like finding just the right pieces that will make it look like that.
Because it was something that you couldn't have acquired. Like nobody was selling a Danger Mouse costume in the United States, even though it was for a brief minute when Nickelodeon was running the reruns of it.
That was about the time, yeah.
It was a popular show for a minute, just like Nick at Night's reruns of the Monkees were hella popular for a minute,
Yeah.
But
which I was a fan of at the same time.
Yeah, about the same time, exactly. It was about 1987, 88, somewhere around there. And I also love Danger Mouse. I remember making Lego models of Danger Mouse's car and stuff like that, and it was a thing. But anyway, that yeah, it's kind of fun. And one of the things I'll say that's fun about costumes is like finding an obscure character like that you have to do yourself because they're not selling a costume of that, right? Like, it's, we always joke. I don't know if you've ever seen, there's this funny, somebody did this parody song a couple years ago, and it was about things you'll see at Halloween. And it's all about costumes. It's like you'll see Heath Ledger's Joker. You'll see Heath Ledger's Joker. You'll see Heath Ledger's Joker. You'll see Captain Jack Sparrow. You'll see Captain Jack Sparrow because it's basically like there's like 5 costumes that everybody likes and everybody does. And we joke about that every year at Dragon Con. We joke about that too. That you're going to see so many Deadpools and Harley Quinns and Heath Ledger's Joker and Captain Jack Sparrow. Which actually Captain Jack Sparrow, I got to say, finally disappeared. Like that finally weaned out. Like there's like one guy. There's one guy who's really committed to it because he looks that much like Johnny Depp. But other than him, everybody else has given up on it.
Exactly.
Gone.
Exactly. But the equivalent for that for children for modern Halloween is Elsa from Frozen, and that's been consistent since the movie originally came out. Like
the first Frozen came out,
yes, the first Frozen,
and now they've got a sequel, which kind of like gives it like staying power, like that. There's your validity to keep doing it, right? Because now there's another one.
Exactly. But if you're out on Halloween night, little girls are Elsa. That's just what they are. They all are.
I would say little dudes are Spider-Man a lot. There's a lot of Spider-Man. I don't know what else the fuck. I'm trying to think what else has that staying power, like for boys. Spider-Man and Batman, I guess. Those are the two most popular.
Superheroes. Various superheroes.
And then, I don't know what else. Trying to remember back in the day, I used to enjoy when you switched from the I'm being a costume trick-or-treater to I'm serving the costume trick-or-treaters, then you start to enjoy like, oh, let's see what comes up here. Who is this? And you count the number of whatever it is you see and kind of like assess the night. Like, okay, an awful lot of Elsa's tonight or whatever.
Exactly. No, one of our first Halloweens after we bought our first house, it was about a year. It might have been a year and a half after we bought that house. So it was our second Halloween in that house, and we'd also just gotten a kitten who was our sweet piglet that you saw in that stained glass. She was less than a year old, and we bought her because we were handing out candy. I mean, we were adult people, so we were handing out candy from our front porch. So we bought Piglet a clown costume. So it had the ruffle around the neck and the little clown hat. And we had her on her leash out on the porch. And we were dressed up too. But parents were dying. Like they'd come up and see this kitten. And half of them wanted a picture of their kid with the kitten because she was dressed up as a goddamn clown. And it was so much fun. And that's kind of what I always wanted. That's why I always want to do things. It's just fun.
It is. I want to backtrack a minute. Let's talk about candy for a sec, okay?
All right.
Okay, so background. I'm a parent. I've got children, and we have children. There's a thing that's called the parent tax, the candy tax. You take your kids trick or treating, and they have to give over a certain amount of their candy to you afterwards. I think that's part of the root of the there's poison or razor blades in the candy is so that the parents have a reason to root through the candy.
Right. I need to check it to make sure it's safe for you. I remember my mother doing that when I was a kid.
No, this caramel checks out.
Yep, it's fine. Go ahead, eat the rest. Like, but the rest came from someone else.
Yeah. Anyway, so I have candies I like and candies I'm like meh on and candies that you can just have all of and I'm fine with. And so for me, my tax was always I'm a taffy person. I love sour candies and taffies. I will steal all your Laffy Taffy. I will steal your Starbursts. I will steal your Mambas, your Airheads. If you've got the chewy sweet tarts, I'll take those as well. I don't like I don't like the powdery sweet tarts, but the chewy sweet tarts, I will steal them. Oh my God! Here's my favorite of all time, though: the colored Tootsie Rolls. The Tootsie Rolls that come in green and orange and yellow and red, and then they have a white one. And the white one is vanilla. And here's the best thing: is you take an orange one and a vanilla one, and you twist them together and you eat them at the same time.
Got a little creamsicle situation going on there.
God, that is so good. That is so moist.
You and Matt love so I don't have kids, so I don't have trick or treat tax.
You buy your own candy.
So I do buy my own candy, which means I buy what I want, because if at the end of trick or treating there's any left, or I've eaten some before trick or treating, I want it to be what I want.
Absolutely. Yeah. You should always buy what you want. Don't buy, unless you're trying to diet, in which case then fill the bowl with black licorice.
Right. I remember one year when I was a kid, every once in a while when I was a kid, and I don't know if it was because they didn't prepare ahead of time or because my dad was the kind of guy that would do this, and he was an accountant, where my parents they were the penny people. And I distinctly remember them being the penny people sometimes. Like, I don't want a fucking penny. They
would give pennies away as trick or treat
instead of candy.
Like, so they went to the bedroom. They went to the bedroom. They got that big jar, and they just dumped it in the bowl and said, "Here's what we're giving away."
My father would actually go. I remember this. My father would actually go to he would bring whatever amount of money to the bank and get rolled pennies.
Oh, shit.
And then I remember before I went out trick or treating. Yeah. When I went out right before I went out trick or treating, I remember breaking open all the rolls and putting them in a bowl so that my mom, because my dad took me trick or treating, so my mom could give out the pennies. At some point, they stopped doing that, probably in the mid '80s, because who the fuck wants a penny? You're not trick or treating for a penny.
No, that's dumb as shit. Like, yeah. And honest to God, if he went and spent that, like, if he went to it seems like a lot of hassle. Just go to the damn store and buy some candy already.
Exactly. I have no idea why they did that.
I would have got it if it was just his jar out of his bedroom that he.
Nope.
You know, like, because that's like, I've got a jar in my bedroom with my pocket change in it. I could see like how this might be an easy, like, oh shit, I don't have any candy. What are we gonna do? Oh, just get the candy. Just don't. But
sometimes it would be the nickels. Like, sometimes you would get nickels, but either way, it doesn't matter.
That's preferable. In all fairness, at least a nickel equals like a piece of candy. You know what I mean? Like, if you went to the, you remember when you went to the gas station? They used to have that bottom row. And it was like nickel candy, you know? Yes.
All right, so, we are never going to get through all of the things we want to talk about, but
all right.
Specifically, I want to talk about this because you grew up in South Carolina. I grew up in Detroit.
Right.
Outside of Detroit. So we were talking before the show about the differences between regional Halloweens and what it's like in the South versus what it's like in the Midwest. And it is a world of difference.
Yeah.
So I think we need to talk about that a little bit.
Sure. All right. Well, go ahead and you start.
All right. Well, so Detroit specifically, not even the Midwest in general, but this is very specific to Detroit, has Devil's Night, which is in Detroit. It happens to be the day before Halloween. And for a long time, it was like real violence, setting fires, like serious issues happening throughout the city of Detroit. But at some point, like a coalition of mothers, inner city mothers, took it over and turned it into what's called Angel Night to try to stop the crime from happening. But it resulted in probably one of the quintessential films of our generation, The Crow. And if you watch that movie, while it's a comic book version of it, it's very realistic. Like, that's the shit that happened in Detroit on the night before Halloween. And I mean, there would be potential murders, there would be fires, like actual homes set on fire. So I lived in the suburbs, so we didn't experience, like, what kids would do in my neighborhood is toilet paper someone's house or soap someone's windows or, egg someone's house. but it got really dangerous in the city of Detroit. And as far as I understand, Detroit is the only city that's had that experience. Like Devil's Night does not. People might know the term, but it didn't exist like it did in Detroit.
Yeah, there was no night before Halloween when I grew up, except for October 30th.
Right. Now, that said, beyond that, like Halloween itself was just, especially in the suburbs where I was just trick-or-treating. The only biggest difference between, I could imagine, trick-or-treating in the suburbs of Detroit versus South Carolina is probably a good 1 out of 5 years, it was blizzarding, and it was snow, like serious snow.
When we were talking earlier about the Donald suit, half the time I was sweating my ass off in that thing because it's 90 degrees on Halloween in South Carolina, like
exactly. Yeah, this is very different than the last one I had. Like it tastes super different.
This is you're drinking now the Highland, right?
Yeah, I'm drinking the Highland, which I've had like a bajillion of. There it is. I mean, I've drank it for years, and it's very different. The Sticky Stout is actually a little more full-bodied. This is a little lighter.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think Highlands kind of play it safe in most things. Like aside from 1 or 2 standout items, their Oktoberfest and their winter beer, they're not really. They don't really push the envelope too much.
Yeah, they don't go for it. But anyway, it's good. It's still good.
Okay. Back to Halloween though. In the South, yes. It was 50% hot, depending on which year. It was you would be hot and when we had a cold Halloween, it would be brisk. It wouldn't be cold. It would be like. It would be like late September probably in Michigan is what it would be like. It would be 50 something in a breeze, and the leaves are rustling, and you'd be like, "Ooh, this is a real October.
This is real Halloween. It's not summer nearly at November 1st."
But I remember also I'm thinking back because your memories are usually like whatever's closest to you, and I remember me and my friend Doug going. Like I said, we went trick-or-treating, like we'd wait until later because then the people were not as like, you're too old to trick-or-treat, because they didn't care if you came at 8 o'clock out of here, but we did that. And then I remember us riding around on our bikes, trick-or-treating. And then we had, I don't know why, we had these sticks with us. I don't know if it was to fend off dogs or because we just like to carry sticks. We were weird. I don't know. I remember riding around and us like, if we went to a house that if you had a jack-o'-lantern, but you would already like stop giving out candy at like 8 o'clock or whatever. Okay, then mischief ensued. It's trick or treat, and you didn't give us a treat, so you're getting a trick. And the trick is we're gonna smash your pumpkin. And so we would like commence to like we were like. We were like, we were like a couple of droogs, with the ultraviolets on the old pumpkin.
Wow.
we would smash in a pumpkin or two, and then I remember after we got wound up on the pumpkin smashing, on our way home, we might pass an election sign or two and decide to smash that as well because.
Oh my God.
Because fuck these people. Who cares? Whatever.
Wow.
That's the kind of mischief we got into. It wasn't exactly Devil's Night. I mean, so an election sign got smashed 4 days before election day.
Right.
Whatevs. We didn't help them down or anything, I guess, but
it wasn't helter skelter.
No, we didn't. We only murdered that one person that 1 year, but we're not going to go into that.
I'm laughing, but I'm not sure if I should.
No, I'm messing. We didn't really murder anybody.
All right, so here's a question about Southern Halloween.
We did.
So after we moved to Georgia, which it was when we bought our first house in Georgia, so it was 2004. And we, coming from the Midwest and love Halloween, and you do up your yard and you do everything, and it's the whole neighborhood and it's super fun.
Mhm.
Like we did a whole thing out in our yard that first Halloween. Matt and I had matching costumes. We actually had a projector. We were Nightmare Before Christmas. I was Sally. He was Jack. We had a projector playing the movie on our garage. And we were out there. We're like, this is going to be awesome. This is great. And we literally got 3 children. And part of me ascribed it to the fact that we were living now in Georgia, where not everybody celebrates Halloween. Did you find that to be the case when you grew up?
That shit happened after I graduated, really. I think that's when the kind of like pushback on Halloween is a satanic holiday and we shouldn't do it. That's when all like the evangelicals got like real bold and they started being like, instead of doing trick or treat, we're going to do trunk or treat down at the church parking lot, and it's going to happen on Saturday before Halloween, and we're going to do it in the daylight, and then that's going to be that. And we're not going to have any real, and
right, and you get Chick Tracts in your bag, where you're like, I can't play Dungeons and Dragons. It says it's evil.
Yeah.
Well, I posted, and by the way, everybody should follow us on Instagram now. We have an Instagram account, so mostly posting ridiculous memes that fit the theme of our upcoming show. But one I found the other day was an actual bus, advertisement that asked the question, should we replace Halloween with Jesusween?
Right.
To which I said, no, we should not do that.
There should not be Jesus. And I don't know if you saw my response, but my response was Godween, Satan, which because that's what it sounds like. It's
exactly. No, that's exactly right. Also, I hate to inform people, but Halloween as it exists today, first of all, is just about going to door to door, get free candy. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
But it was already a Christian holiday. It's All Hallows Eve, which is before All Saints and All Souls Day. Those are already Christian holidays. So we don't need to make it a new thing.
Yeah, it's like you don't understand the entire. There's like a whole tug of war between paganism and Christianity. It's like Samhain exists, so we're going to make this thing, and then we're going to do this thing, and we're going to do this thing, and it's like, listen, if Christianity didn't want Halloween to be a thing, then they shouldn't have made a damn holiday around it, and there would be a thing.
Exactly.
They tried to absorb a pagan holiday, and now they have to fucking live with it.
Yep, that's what they did, because Samhain was a little too strong. It hung on a little too much. So
they're gonna get upset next about Yule. They're gonna be like, let's, we don't want all this crazy shit going on around Yule. Like,
they already have. So there's a war on Christmas. You know that, right?
Right. I know.
That's another show. All right. We are getting very, very, very close. And I have a whole list of things we didn't cover. So we will have to. We're going to have, all right. Real quick. What's the word we used for it? Rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Yes. Favorite Halloween song?
Favorite Halloween song? I like Werewolves of London. I don't know if that's technically a Halloween song, but sure. I hate Thriller. It's too fucking long. It's too damn long for that shit. Like, I don't want to listen to all of it. Like, it goes on for minutes and minutes, and it's not a good pop song is only 3 minutes. It's like three verses, 3 choruses, a bridge, you're out. Too damn long.
No, Thriller was a movie. It was an experience. It wasn't just a song.
I want to hear it on the radio though. I was driving home the other day and they played it on the radio, and I was like, eh. And then they also played Whatever Happened to Saturday Night from Rocky Horror, and I was like, yeah.
Exactly. So honestly, my favorite Halloween song is the Monster Mash. I think it's classic. There's a whole album. Check it out. It's good stuff. Yeah. All of it. Because as kids, we only knew the Monster Mash, but there's a whole album by Bobby Boris Pickett that's worth listening to. But I'm actually going to list a tongue-in-cheek favorite Halloween song. There's an artist named Jan Terry, and she has a song called Get Down Goblin. And I will post it to our social media in the next couple of days because that shit's ridiculous. And it is so hilarious because this woman is serious. But when you watch it, it's not.
Wait, is this an evangelical thing or something? Or
no. This is a woman. She was her other song, her one other famous song, was actually voted the worst video in video history. I'll share that eventually at some point. But in discovering that, I discovered the rest of her career, which included where she literally wanted to write the next Monster Mash. And I will post that link to our social media because y'all got to hear this shit. It is amazing.
I look forward to having my mind blown, rather.
Yeah. Well, it'll be something. Your mind will be something. All right. We literally have 2 minutes, but we're going to really quick. 2 more rapid fires. Favorite Halloween movie?
I'm going to say Fright Night. Fright Night. Laura has a word she likes to use, spoopy, which is kind of like it's not quite terribly scary. And I would say Fright Night is a movie that it won't terrify you, but it's good enough. It's a good enough vampire film that you will enjoy yourself. It's good for both parties. If you don't like terribly scary, but you do like, if you're a horror purist, either way, you can both enjoy this movie. I'd say Fright Night. It's got Chris Sarandon, who is Prince Humperdinck. Prince Humperdinck from Princess Bride is the vampire, and he's pretty creepy.
Yes. I have to go with the classic. I have to go with The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I think it's a classic. You got to go with it. All right. In last rapid fire category before we close out the show as quickly as we can, favorite Halloween food. Do you have any foods you like?
I mean, Halloween food, candy. My favorite candy for Halloween, probably the Starbursts, I guess. I'm going to say the red Starburst, which wasn't my favorite when I was younger. I like the pink. As I get older, the more tart it is, the better. So the red one, which is the cherry, is more tart than the strawberry. They actually sell an entire roll of just strawberry now, but they don't sell an entire roll of just cherry. And I wish they did because cherry is my favorite one.
Yes. So I'm going to go with a legit food on this one. It's a recipe we learned a while back, and we make it on Halloween almost all the time. All you need is a jar of pumpkin butter, which you can get in the South pretty easily, pretty much anywhere. A little bit of heavy cream and tortellini. And you just, you cook the tortellini and then you make up a little sauce with the pumpkin butter and the cream, and it's fucking delicious. So
okay. I was going to say, I saw at Lidl the other day, they actually make, this time of year, they make a pumpkin spaghetti sauce also, which is probably the same.
We've bought that. We've got that. It's quite tasty.
Yeah. So,
all right. Pumpkin food is just a staple.
It is pumpkin season. I will be eating pumpkin stuff until the end of November, at which point I switched to gingerbread. I know a lot of people say mint for December, but I'm like, no, I'm a gingerbread for December.
No, I want both. I want gingerbread and, not at the same time, but gingerbread and peppermint are the flavors of December. But that is for a later show. But, all right, so I do have a mailbag for us. This is a good one. Good, prepare yourself.
That's my scared face.
All right. If you had to make out with a movie monster, which would it be? Explain why courting mortal demise would be worth it.
A movie monster. It's going to be a vampire because they're kind of sexy, okay? And because I'm a straight cis man, I'm going to say it's a female vampire. I'm going to say Grace Jones in Vamp. I don't know if you remember that movie. If you ever saw the movie Vamp from the 80s, it's actually it's one of the ones people don't talk about enough. Go watch the movie Vamp. Grace Jones, first off, what a beautiful woman, okay? She is muscular. I don't know how to explain it. She exhibits the best quality.
She's stunning. She's legit stunning.
I mean, she was a fucking model, right? Like, but she's huge, tall. I mean, built, but like still feminine. I don't know how to explain it. She's a gorgeous damn woman. Anyway, she's a vampire in this movie. Yeah, I'd make out with her.
All right, so I got a weird one for you. And honestly, I don't know who played him in the movie. You'd probably know. Some of our viewers could know. But one of my favorite memories as a kid was the original Universal monster movie, Wolfman. And was that Lon Chaney? I mean, he was a wolf. I know he was in a bunch of stuff. I just didn't realize it was him. Was it Lon Chaney or Lon Chaney Jr.?
No, it's Lon Chaney.
Who walked with the Queen?
I'm fairly certain.
All right. Either way. But one of the reasons I think this is because we had, I wish we still had them because apparently they're worth money, but these action figures, but they were a little bit smaller than a Barbie.
Yeah, they were like
monsters.
Star Wars figure about, and I had those as well. They were. Yeah. I had a Dracula, a Phantom, Creature from the Black Lagoon, a Wolfman, a Frankenstein, and I used to play with them, and I would pretend like they were like roommates. It was like friends the way I played them. They were like monsters that got into campy adventures. You know?
No, this is what I would do because they were just slightly smaller than a Barbie doll. And I had Barbies and I didn't have a Ken. So my Barbie was dating the Wolfman. And I remember his name was Max. And I called him Max at any rate. And that's who he was slightly shorter than my Barbie, but they were boyfriend girlfriends. How I learned about a lot of things with those dolls. Anyway.
All right. You were like, yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's my favorite Disney movie. Also, one of my favorite series from the early 90s. I love Beauty and the Beast. That shit's great. And you don't need to not be a beast like Shrek. Like, why does the beast have to turn into a handsome prince? Why can't he just stay a beast? Anyway, all right, things that are extra. What do you got for us this week, Bill?
Oh, shit. So we mentioned earlier in the evening that I went and had to buy a new car out of duress, which is the worst way to buy a new car. You're so much better off if you can buy a new car at your leisure and you can go, oh, shit, well, I can take all year to buy a car because I'm thinking about buying a car. But in my case, I got some bad news about my car. And I decided I wasn't going to piss any more money into that stupid money pit. And I went to go buy a car. And I went down to the car lot last night and purchased a car. And I thought I was going to be in and out. I already had the car picked out. I knew what I was going to do. I just needed to get the numbers and be like, call my wife and say, hey, these are the numbers. And she'd be like, yeah, whatevs. And we're good, right? And instead, it took them all damn night to run the paperwork. And I don't know what they're dragging their feet. I was in there at 5:30. That's when I got there. I test drove the car. I sold them my car, whatever. And then I'm still there at 10 o'clock at night. And I don't understand why that shit has to take all day. By the end of it, I was just mad. I was ready to punch somebody because I'm like, listen, I've been here for 5 hours. I'm angry. I'm hangry. It's time to go eat supper because actually it was time to eat supper 4 hours ago.
Right.
And y'all are pissing me off. Just get this paperwork done, and take care of it, and let's get the fuck out of here. There's no reason for this. If somebody could come up with a way to sell you a car in 2 hours, the world would beat a path to their doorway. They would sell all the fucking cars. I'm telling you. That's all I got to say about that shit is make car buying an easier experience. I shouldn't have to deal with this horse shit. Just say, here's I'm going to give you $4 for your stupid used car. Okay, fine, whatever. You want to sign anything? Yeah, sign this one thing. Great. Okay, you're done. Here's the keys. Good day.
There you go. What you need, what you want. Yeah, especially when you know what you want going in. That's ridiculous. All right.
Ridiculous. I don't know. It ruined my evening. I didn't get home until 11:30 last night, and then I had to stay up at 12:30 because I had to watch 2 episodes of Schitt's Creek to wind down. And then I was tired all day. So
yeah. But positive, you have a car that you like, and it's really
I do
cool.
have a new car. Yes, there's that. So, yeah.
All right. That is it for our show. Join us next week for our Election Day special. It's about voting and elections and all that bullshit. We'll share our opinions like you expect. So, Bill, Lord of the Flies, take us away.
Yes. Yeah, spooky. Let's see. The show here is engineered and produced and murdered by Laura Lavoie.
I'm a witch.
And the opinions of Bill are those of his, and also the devil.
It's very spooky. It's so scary.
I don't know. The opinions of Laura are hers, and also the Wolfman's, but not necessarily Bill's, unless Bill and Laura both agreed. And then the Wolfman and the devil and Bill and Laura all agreed on those opinions. And anyway, be sure to hate us and damn us and whatever down in the comments if you're on YouTube, and if you're on and also like and subscribe. But if you're on the Facebook, be sure to follow us, and whatever it is you do on Facebook, I don't know, thumbs up or some shit. I don't know. Leave a tasteless meme. I don't know what it is you do on Facebook.
Yeah. If you do that on Facebook, we'll probably reshare it to our Instagram. So also follow our brand new Instagram account.
Oh, yeah. Follow us on Instagram also, and also be sure to comment on that. I don't know. Do all the things. Woo!
Do what you do. Join us. Follow us. All these things. All right. We will see you all in a week. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy your Halloween. Happy Halloween.